There's a man sitting alone in his garage. Fluorescent light hums above him. It's 2:47 in the morning. He's surrounded by printed out documents, open books, a corkboard of strings and faces. He hasn't slept properly in days. He doesn't trust the media. He doesn't trust the schools. He barely trusts his own wife. But he trusts what he found, or what he thinks he found. To him, it all connects. The barcodes, the plane crash, the missing dog. He talks about patterns. They always use the number 33, he says, pointing to a blurry photo of a man shaking hands. He nods like this is the final proof. The problem isn't the lack of evidence, it's how no one else sees it. That makes him feel more certain, not less. Outside, the world feels louder than ever. Wars on screens. Politicians promising nothing. Prices climbing. Jobs shrinking. Every institution is either corrupt or incompetent, if not both. He can't fix any of that, but he can map it. He can name the ones behind it. He can create a story with villains, plans, and secret rooms. It feels safer that way, like someone at least is driving the car, even if they're evil. The theory isn't elegant, it's full of holes, but it gives him something reality doesn't: a target, a purpose, a shape to the madness. And if someone laughs at him, that's part of the script too. That's how they silence truth. That's how deep the plan goes. So he sharpens the pins, stretches the string, tells himself he's not crazy, he's awake. You've seen it. The guy on YouTube who's convinced the earth is flat. The woman who swears every major disaster was planned. The friend who suddenly starts using the word they a lot. Never quite saying who they are, but insisting they control everything. At first, you laugh. Then you wonder why they're so sure. What is it about conspiracy theories that makes them so sticky? Not just the half-believable ones. Even the wildest ones have fans. In fact, the stranger the theory, the more devoted the believers. It's not about truth. It's about certainty. Something to hold on to when nothing else makes sense. Most people don't wake up and decide to stop trusting everything. It builds, bit by bit. A news story that doesn't add up. A boss who lies and gets promoted. A politician caught red-handed and still walks. After enough cracks in the system, some stop asking who's telling the truth and start looking for who's hiding it. That's when the turn happens. Real life starts to feel too random, too messy. People don't like mess. They want a clean story. Clear villains. A master plan. It feels smarter to believe in a dark system than to admit no one's in charge. Conspiracy theories offer that comfort. They say, you're not lost. Everyone else is blind. It's easy to mock these theories, but that misses the point. The appeal isn't in the facts, it's in the feeling, control, clarity, purpose, the belief that someone, somewhere, knows what's going on. Even if it's sinister, at least it's something. So the real question isn't, why do people believe lies? It's, why does a lie feel better than the truth? That's where we're going. Before we move forward, we need to be clear on three things. Conspiracy theory. This isn't just a theory about people plotting something. Conspiracies happen all the time. Watergate was a conspiracy. So was COINTELPRO. But when we say conspiracy theory here, we're talking about claims that explain major events as the result of secret, powerful groups, without solid proof. These theories often ignore simpler explanations and reject any facts that don't fit. Pattern seeking. Humans are wired to find patterns. We look for cause and effect, even when it's not there. This instinct kept our ancestors alive. If the rustling in the bushes meant danger once, they didn't wait for proof the next time. The brain would rather be wrong than unprepared. In conspiracy thinking, that same instinct overfires. It finds links where there aren't any. Coincidence becomes connection. Narrative closure. This is the need to complete the story. Open-ended chaos is stressful. People want a beginning, middle, and end. Theories give them that. It's not just about believing something, it's about believing something that feels finished. It's a full story where they're the one who figured it out. This isn't about judging people, it's about seeing the machinery behind belief. Not every theory is false, but the deeper draw is rarely logic. It's what the theory gives to the believer. Conspiracy theories aren't new. They've followed power for as long as power has existed. In ancient Rome, people believed Nero started the Great Fire so he could rebuild the city in his name. In 14th century Europe, as the Black Death swept through towns, many claimed it was caused by Jews poisoning wells. During the French Revolution, Rumors spread that the queen was hoarding grain while people starved. The details change. The structure doesn't. In the early 20th century, one of the most damaging examples appeared: the Protocols of the Elders of Zion. It was a fake document claiming a secret Jewish cabal planned to control the world. It spread fast. Russia, Germany, America. It fueled decades of hate. It helped lay the groundwork for Nazi propaganda. It was all fiction, but told as if it was revealed truth. World War II didn't kill conspiracies. It fed them. After Hiroshima and Nagasaki, the public learned how far governments could go in secret. The Cold War added more fuel: wiretaps, spy planes, secret experiments. It became harder to draw the line between real and imagined plots. When the truth is hidden, people start guessing. And once the guessing starts, it rarely stops. In the 1960s, the assassination of JFK brought conspiracy culture into the mainstream. The official story left too many questions, too many contradictions. From there, it spread. The moon landing, Watergate, MK Ultra, Iran-Contra, each one deepened public doubt. Not all of these were theories. Some were facts, and that's the problem. Real lies make fake ones easier to believe. By the time the internet arrived, the floodgates were already open. Forums, videos, anonymous blogs. Anyone could publish, connect, convince. There was no longer a barrier between expert and believer. No filter, just a feed. And in that feed, theories multiplied. 9/11 inside job. Chemtrails, crisis actors, QAnon. It didn't matter how strange they got. If they offered clarity in a chaotic world, someone would follow. Today, conspiracy theories don't live on the fringe, they're everywhere. In podcasts, at rallies, in family chats. They've become a part of how many people explain the world, and the stranger they get, the more power they seem to hold. Most people don't chase conspiracy theories because they're gullible. They chase them because something deeper is unsettled. Beneath the facts and charts and pins on a map is a human need, one that doesn't vanish just because it's inconvenient. Start with control. When life feels unstable, people look for explanations. They want to believe events happen for a reason. Randomness is terrifying. It means no one's in charge. It means bad things can happen to good people and there's no hidden lesson or justice behind it. But if there's a plot, a system, a mastermind, at least that's something to fight or understand. The world isn't safer, but it feels smaller, more containable. Next comes identity. Believing in a conspiracy often creates a sense of purpose. It separates the believer from the herd. They're no longer just a face in the crowd. They're someone who knows, someone who's awake while others sleep. That's a powerful shift. In a culture that often leaves people invisible, being in the know becomes a source of pride. It fills a gap that mainstream institutions rarely touch: the need to matter. There's also fear. Fear of being lied to. Fear of being powerless. Fear of watching the world burn while no one seems to care. For some, conspiracy theories don't cause fear. They explain it. They give it a face. They say, yes, you're right to feel uneasy. Yes, someone is working against you. That's not paranoia. That's awareness. And finally, there's belonging. These theories often come with a built-in community. Online forums, video channels, message boards, spaces where people talk, share, reinforce. It's not just about the theory, it's about connection. People don't just believe, they join. Strip away the names, the symbols, the wild claims, and what you'll find is simple: the need to feel safe, seen, and certain. That's what conspiracy theories offer. Not because they're true, but because they touch something real. The mind doesn't just want answers, it demands patterns. That's how it works. It fills in gaps, connects dots, makes stories out of fragments. When something big or painful happens, the brain doesn't rest until it builds a reason. It doesn't care if the reason is true, it cares if it fits. This is where conspiracy theories thrive. They feed on confirmation bias. Once someone believes a theory, they'll mostly look for information that supports it. Everything else gets ignored or twisted. If a video confirms the idea, it's proof. If it contradicts the idea, it's planted. Either way, the theory wins. Then comes proportionality bias. This is the belief that big events must have big causes. A lone gunman? A freak accident? That doesn't feel right. The brain wants balance. If something huge happened, there must be a powerful force behind it. This makes conspiracy theories feel more reasonable than the chaos they replace. Emotion adds fuel. Fear sharpens focus. Anger demands action. Shame hides in belief. When people feel hurt, betrayed, or scared, their thinking narrows. They look for targets. They want to fight back. That's when emotional reasoning takes over. If something feels true, it becomes true. The logic comes after. There's also illusory pattern perception. People see meaning where there is none. They match numbers, shapes, colors. They tie coincidences together. The brain gets a dopamine reward when it spots a pattern, even if it's fake. And the more personal the connection feels, the stronger the reward. One study by Gertzel in 1994 found that belief in one conspiracy often leads to belief in others, even when they contradict each other. Why? Because it's not about the content, it's about the mindset. Once someone stops trusting the system, any story that explains the system's failure becomes fair game. In the end, conspiracy thinking isn't a glitch. It's a feature of the mind under pressure. It offers control in confusion, meaning in noise. And in the process, it turns doubt into certainty, without ever needing to be right. Culture sets the frame for what we believe. It tells us who to trust, what to question, and what stories are too strange to say out loud. But when those frames break, when trust in systems fades, people start looking elsewhere. In the US, that break didn't happen overnight. It built over decades. Institutions failed, overpromised, or lied. Churches covered abuse. Banks wrecked the economy. Politicians said one thing, did another, and each time the message was clear. You're on your own. Conspiracy theories stepped in to fill the space. They didn't just explain events, they explained betrayal. And they did it with clarity. No vague language, no legal jargon. Just a clean story with villains, heroes, and secret plans. The internet made this spread faster. Not just because of speed, but because of reach. Suddenly, people who felt isolated in their doubt found others who felt the same. Forums replaced churches. YouTube replaced teachers. Reddit threads became more trusted than doctors or news anchors. The culture began to reward that doubt. TV shows like The X-Files or House of Cards trained viewers to expect lies. Documentaries blurred fact and fiction. Memes turned complex events into one-liners. Suspicion became cool. And in a world where doing your own research became a badge of honor, every user became their own expert. Even education played a role. Schools teach facts, but rarely teach how to question them well. They don't train students to separate strong evidence from weak claims. And so people grow up fluent in answers, but shaky in thinking. In this space, conspiracy theories become more than entertainment. They become identity. Belief isn't just personal, it's social. It signals who you trust, where you belong, and what kind of world you think we live in. And the more fractured the culture becomes, the louder those signals get. Here's the irony. People turn to conspiracy theories to escape lies, but often end up believing bigger ones. They say they want truth, but only the kind that fits. They reject mainstream media for bias, then trust a stranger with a webcam and no sources. They claim to be free thinkers, but repeat the same phrases word for word. Do your own research becomes code for watch the same videos I did. They say the government is too stupid to fix a pothole, but smart enough to fake a moon landing, stage mass shootings, and control world markets without a single leak. It's not logic, it's emotion. The contradiction isn't a bug, it's part of the appeal. The messier the belief, the more heroic it feels to hold it. It's also about power. People who feel powerless don't want to admit chaos runs the show, that's too painful. So instead, they imagine hidden rulers. It's not the randomness that's crushing them, it's the plan. The secret group. The puppet masters. In that story, they're not just victims, they're rebels. And the more others mock them, the stronger that identity becomes. Every doubt from outside becomes proof. Every challenge becomes resistance. They don't lose faith when the facts don't hold. They double down. Because by then, it's not about facts, it's about belonging. The contradiction is simple. They claim to seek truth, but what they really want is certainty. And if certainty means bending reality, so be it. Conspiracy thinking isn't just a fringe problem anymore, it's mainstream. It shapes elections, public health, school boards, and dinner tables. In 2020, millions believed the US election was stolen, even after audits, court rulings, and investigations said otherwise. Some stormed the Capitol. not for power, but for a story. A belief that they were saving the country from a secret enemy. During the pandemic, conspiracy theories spread faster than the virus. Some refused vaccines. Others believed hospitals were faking deaths. Lives were lost, not from illness, but from mistrust. These aren't isolated cases. A 2021 Pew survey found that nearly half of Americans believe at least one major conspiracy theory. That includes ideas like 9/11 being an inside job, mass shootings being staged, or elites harvesting children for power. These views now influence laws, news, and even school curriculums, and it's not slowing down. Algorithms feed people more of what they already believe. The more extreme the content, the more clicks it gets. Platforms profit from outrage. Truth becomes just another opinion. This isn't about whether a theory is true or false. It's about what happens when belief becomes immune to evidence. When facts can't reach people, conversation breaks. So does democracy. We're not just dealing with weird ideas, we're dealing with a shift in how people process reality. You can't argue someone out of a belief they didn't reason into. Facts don't work when belief fills an emotional need. But that doesn't mean nothing works. Here's what does. Ask, don't attack. Instead of saying, "You're wrong," ask, "How do you know that's true?" Let them walk through their logic. Don't try to win. Just get them thinking. Most conspiracy theories fall apart when someone has to explain them clearly. Focus on values, not facts. People believe theories because they feel betrayed or scared? Start there. Talk about fairness, safety, trust. If you can meet the emotional need, the story around it starts to loosen. Model uncertainty. Admit what you don't know. Say, "I haven't seen strong evidence for that." It builds credibility. People are more open when they don't feel judged. Certainty is attractive, but calm doubt is powerful too. Pick your moment. Don't push during a fight. Wait for quiet. Plant seeds, not arguments. Sometimes it's not about proving anything, it's about being the one person they can talk to when it all stops making sense. And if you're the one who feels pulled into the rabbit hole, ask yourself, what am I hoping this theory will give me? Sometimes the answer isn't truth. It's control, meaning, belonging. And those things can be found elsewhere, without giving up reality. Back in that garage, the man is still awake. The string is still tight. The photos, the notes, the faces, all exactly where he left them. Nothing's changed. Except now, the theory is bigger. The web is wider. And he's more sure than ever. He doesn't need proof. He has belief. He doesn't need trust. He has patterns. And even if he's wrong, the story feels more real than the silence the world gave him. This isn't about one man. It's about a culture that let chaos grow louder than truth. So the question isn't, how do we stop conspiracy theories? It's, what broke that made them feel better than reality? And what would it take for reality to be enough again?